Most people working on their gut health have one big blind spot. They fix what they eat, but ignore what sleep does to their gut. Now, poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It changes your gut bacteria within a few days. And it makes the exact symptoms you're trying to fix through diet get worse. I'm Dr. Mel Ona, a board-certified gastroenterologist in Hawaii. I have a master's degree in nutritional biochemistry, and I've worked with over 10,000 patients with digestive conditions. I see this all the time. Patients eating well, taking the right supplements, and still not getting better. When I ask about sleep, it's almost always a problem. Now, there are 5 specific mistakes that keep this loop going. Once you know them, the path out becomes a lot clearer. Now, how the loop works. Before the mistakes, you need to understand the system. Once you see how the loop runs, the mistakes will make perfect sense. Your gut produces about 90% of your body's serotonin. Now, serotonin is a chemical your brain uses to control mood, sleep, and your sense of day and night. Your body then turns that serotonin into melatonin. And melatonin is the signal that tells your brain it's time to sleep. If your gut is inflamed or your gut bacteria are off, serotonin drops. Lower serotonin means lower melatonin, and low melatonin means trouble falling asleep or staying in deep sleep. On the other side of the loop, poor sleep raises cortisol, your body's main stress hormone. High cortisol weakens your gut lining, cuts the protective mucus your gut makes, and slows repair. So bad sleep drives gut damage, and gut damage drives bad sleep. That loop is why so many people hit a wall. They work on one side and can't figure out why they stop making progress. The other side is pulling them back. So mistake number 1, treating sleep and gut as 2 separate problems. Now, this is where the loop starts for most people. They follow separate plans and never connect the 2. Now, medicine makes this easy to do. You see a GI doctor for your gut. You see your primary care doctor or a sleep specialist for sleep. 2 different conversations, 2 different sets of advice. Nobody's sitting across from you saying these 2 things are running the same system. Now, work on them separately, and each one keeps limiting the other. The gut inflammation lowers serotonin and breaks up sleep. The poor sleep raises cortisol and damages your gut lining. You make some progress and then stall, often blaming the wrong thing. Now, I've had patients on gut healing protocols for 3 or 4 months with partial improvement. When I ask about sleep, they're getting 5 or 6 hours a night, or they're waking up a lot. That's not a supplement problem, that's a loop problem. The gut work was real, but poor sleep kept limiting what it could do. The fix is to put sleep in your gut plan from day 1. Measure it, protect it, and give it the same attention you give to diet. Gut health and sleep are one intervention, not 2. So mistake 2, not knowing how fast sleep damage hits your gut. Most people assume gut health changes slowly. Months of clean eating, months of the right supplements. That's true for some things. For sleep, it's wrong. Just 2 or 3 nights of poor sleep measurably shifts your gut bacteria. The bacteria that drop off fastest are the ones that produce short-chain fatty acid. Those bacteria feed your gut lining cells and seal the gut wall. When they lose ground, gut permeability increases. The seals between gut lining cells open up. That's the same mechanism as leaky gut, and it can happen in days. At the same time, the balance of gut bacteria shifts. The ones tied to inflammation move in, the healthy balance your gut needs to repair itself starts to break down, and it happens before you feel it. The real cost, 1 bad week of sleep undoes weeks of good eating. The setback feels random. People assume something they ate triggered the flare, but sleep was the thing they weren't tracking. Before we keep going, look at your own pattern. Think about the last time your gut symptoms flared. Think about how you slept in the days before it. Now, write down whether sleep was short or broken before your last few bad gut days. 1 week of honest tracking almost always shows the pattern. Now, most of my patients had no idea sleep was doing this to their gut. If you want to keep hearing things your GI appointment doesn't have time for, subscribe. I put out a new one of these videos every week. Mistake 3, eating close to bedtime. Now, this one surprises people because most sleep advice focuses on what you eat, not when. Your gut microbiome runs on a circadian rhythm. Bacterial populations shift with the light-dark cycle, the same way your energy and hormones do. Certain bacteria are more active during the day when you're eating and moving. Others do their repair work overnight when you're fasting and still. Eating close to bedtime forces your gut into active digestion during its overnight repair window. The bacteria that are supposed to be winding down stay active processing food. The bacteria that repair your gut lining get less space to work, and digestion is less efficient at night, which means more gas and more fermentation. That pushes back on your sleep. If you wake up bloated or with reflux, late eating is often the reason. Your gut is trying to do two jobs at once and doing neither one well. The fix is simple. Stop eating 3 to 4 hours before bed. This gives your gut a real overnight fast. In that window, the repair bacteria have space to do their job. Your sleep is no longer fighting against active digestion. Now, most people who make this change feel better sleep within a week. Morning gut symptoms ease within 2 weeks. It's one of the fastest changes on this list to feel, and it costs nothing. Mistake 4, using melatonin without fixing the loop. Melatonin supplements are cheap, widely available, and easy to reach for when sleep isn't working. For some people, they help a little, but if gut damage is what's driving the poor sleep, melatonin misses the real cause. And here's why. About 90% of your serotonin is made in your gut. Your body turns serotonin into melatonin. If your gut is inflamed or your gut bacteria are off, serotonin drops. Melatonin drops with it. Taking a melatonin supplement adds the end product, but the gut is still inflamed and serotonin is still low. So the supplement helps some, but then you hit a wall. There's also a specific concern for people with irritable bowel syndrome or IBS or gut motility issues. High-dose melatonin speeds up gut motility in some people and makes diarrhea worse. In others, it slows things down. If you try melatonin and your gut symptoms shifted in an unexpected direction, that's a known effect. Bring it up with your doctor. A better approach is treating gut inflammation as part of your sleep fix. When gut inflammation goes down, serotonin goes up. Higher serotonin raises melatonin, and when melatonin rises, sleep follows. The loop runs in your favor. Now, melatonin isn't harmful for most people short term, but if you've been using it for a while and sleep still isn't better, the gut side of the loop is where to look next. Mistake 5, assuming your sleep is fine because you fall asleep fast. This is the most missed one on the list. Most people judge their sleep by how fast they fall asleep. If they're out within minutes, they assume the sleep is good. But falling asleep fast is one piece of the picture. The depth of sleep through the night is a different question. 2 stages of sleep matter most for gut repair: deep, slow wave sleep and REM sleep. These are the stages where your gut lining repairs. Your immune system does its gut work here too, and cortisol drops to its lowest point. If your sleep architecture is disrupted, you spend time in bed without reaching these stages. And the number of hours doesn't tell you that. Here are the signs the depth of sleep is the problem, even when total hours look okay. Waking up groggy no matter how long you slept, or feeling like sleep was light and easy to break. And if rest doesn't actually restore you, that's the clearest sign of all. These are signs the deep stages aren't happening the way they should. Now, one common driver is alcohol. Many people use alcohol to wind down, and it does help with falling asleep, but alcohol suppresses REM sleep and increases gut permeability at the same time. So you get sleep that looks like rest but doesn't work like rest, and your gut is taking hits through the night. If you drink regularly and your gut symptoms won't clear, try taking alcohol off the table for a few weeks. That one change often shifts both sleep depth and gut symptoms faster than people expect. Now, if you've already been through this, if good eating hasn't moved the needle, sleep is the first place to look. You haven't lost ground, you've found the missing variable. The gut work you've done is still real. Sleep is what's been holding back how far it can go. Now, where to start tonight? 3 things in order. First, set a hard stop for eating 3 to 4 hours before bed tonight. This is the fastest change on this list to feel. Second, track sleep alongside gut symptoms for the next week. Track not just hours, but how you feel when you wake up, and whether gut symptoms are worse after broken nights. And third, if you're taking melatonin and your gut is still a problem, bring that to your doctor. Ask whether your gut health could be limiting your sleep rather than the other way around. The pattern becomes clear fast. Most people who track both for 1 week stop seeing their gut symptoms as random. Now, these 5 mistakes aren't signs that someone wasn't trying hard enough. They're signs that nobody told them the gut and sleep were running the same system. Now you know. And once you start treating them as one thing instead of 2, the wall most people hit starts to move. Now, the gut-brain connection goes deeper than this video covers. There's already a video on this channel about exactly that. It's called Your Fatigue, Brain Fog, and Bloating Aren't Three Separate Problems. Here's what they have in common. Watch that one next.